Apologies, time is a bit tight for us here, but I mean, these are huge numbers of people who've been sitting in the backlog. They're going to be processed for their asylum claims, which should have happened already, one would argue. But the trouble is, we've got a very high rate of approval for a lot of the people who claim asylum, rather higher, interestingly, than most other countries in Europe. What does that tell us?
Well, it shows that we're a soft touch, but I mean, the last 5 years have already shown us that we're a bit of a soft touch. What we will see now is the 100,000 that are now going to be processed and their applications assessed for the relative merits of whether they deserve asylum. We're going to see this process absolutely expedited because we can see that the Labour Party are already putting great stock by their ability to deal with the applications, not to actually ensure that those people that have entered the country illegally are dealt with as many of us would do.
Well, that is clearing the backlog, so it will look good. The backlog cleared, lovely jubbly, absolutely fine. But it came up in one of the TV debates when Rishi Sunak, I thought we saw a bit of passion from him saying, well, who are you going to negotiate with to returns agreement? What, you're going to negotiate with, you know, with the mullahs of Iran, you know, with other leaders who just have no intention whatsoever of taking these people back?
Well, that's exactly right. And the problem under Labour strategy is that they've absolutely stripped away any semblance of a deterrent. Obviously, the Rwanda plan had pretty chronic problems with it, and many of us would have argued that it didn't actually deter people from making the crossing. But at least there was the term deterrent was being used, the idea that we needed to make the crossings not seem attractive to these people.
And it's certainly also the principle that is the elected government that gets to decide these things, not a court that is totally misinterpreting decision made many years ago by a previous government.
Precisely. Well, that was ultimately what was the problem with the Rwanda plan, is that the Conservatives weren't prepared to grip that strongly enough. But Labour have completely even given up on that notion entirely, and the whole dichotomy is now shifting from one of those making the illegal crossings, those that pose national security risks ultimately because we don't know who they are, being the problem, and it being the gang masters instead. And you see, the individuals such as Neil Basu, who's about to play a crucial role in this whole scheme that Labour are constructing. The whole narrative is now shifting towards them being victims, and it being the gang masters and these few nebulous individuals, unidentified individuals who we don't know, who I'd argue the NCA don't know, and who I'd argue that our own intelligence services aren't particularly competent at clamping down on, being the crisis, being the problem. And what we will see over the next few years is the relative merits of Labour's approach being judged by how many of these gang masters are caught and locked up, rather than it actually being the boat.
Yeah, but you can lock as many as you want up, but there'll be another one appearing because this is so lucrative, so much competition, the money is pouring in, and there'll be more and more people wanting to come. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. The key worry is that a lot of these people, they may not be given asylum, but they'll be given leave to stay. That's often what the case is. And of course, that just sends a message across the channel, come on in, the water's lovely.
Precisely. We're exuding these kind of positive messages that are going to be exactly what the people in northern France are going to want to hear. This idea of, your applications will be dealt with in an expedited timetable. You're not really doing anything wrong. It's not your fault. We're not blaming you.
And off you go. And off you go to work and claim some benefits, which is what they'll then be entitled to. It was really interesting to talk to you. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.